Alright, it's Jay today and Gwen tomorrow, and we're back with another adventure, so I figured I'd bring you guys along. So, I'm currently here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I'm gonna make my way back to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I figured I'd turn the camera on, bring you guys along. So, it is currently 59 degrees. It is 6:04 a.m. and we got quite the hike. So it looks like 505 miles, 7 hours and 22 minutes, and yeah, it's gonna be a long one, which is fine. The cool thing is that I get to go home. So, like, of course, so if you guys haven't been following along, or if you have been, you'll notice that when I started this trip, I started it last Saturday, roughly about the same time, and I drove all the way to Fargo, North Dakota. I spent the night in Fargo, North Dakota, and then from there, I drove all the way from Fargo, North Dakota to Billings, Montana. Long drive, long drive. There was some scenic stuff that I got to see, and I documented it all, everything that I possibly could. And then from Billings, Montana, I drove all the way up to Glacier, well, which is right on the outside of, it's basically St. Mary's is what it's called. It's on the outside of Glacier National Park. And then I took a road called Going to the Sun, which is a 50-mile scenic route that goes through Glacier National Park all the way to West Glacier. And then I spent the night in Killipass, or something, Montana. And then from there, I drove all the way from Killipass, or I know I'm slaughtering the name, but I drove all the way from there to Twin Falls, Idaho. And I'm gonna be honest, Twin Falls, Idaho, that trip, you know, roughly, I ended up getting there like kind of a little later than I'd like to have been there. But the closer I got to Twin Falls, it's their harvest season, so they're working the fields, and there was a lot of dust, and you've seen that in the video if you've watched it. But it had gotten so bad with the bugs and the dust going across the highway that I was like kind of getting a little worried and a little scared, even though I only had like less than 100 miles to go when it got really bad, so I was just gonna push through it. But there was a couple spots where I was like, oh my god, like I can't see anything, and like it's just getting worse and worse. But you know, we made it through, we pushed through, got there, spent the night, and got to see some really cool waterfalls. In fact, there were so many waterfalls that I got to see, some really cool tall ones and everything, that I actually, like, I was gonna go to Twin Falls, but I was spending a little too much time, that I just decided not to, because I was kind of waterfalled out. I mean, I was just, it's a beautiful place. Twin Falls is a beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, they've got two gorgeous bridges that go over the Snake River, and then they also have abundance of waterfall. And the funny thing is there's another video that we'll post of the I think it's called the IB Parian Bridge, that I decided to do an aerial photo on it. That's on a whole nother video you guys will have to watch, that I was so in awe of catching the scenery and the bridge that I literally missed a waterfall that was just right down the cliff there in the Snake River. So I was like, oh my god, I didn't even realize that waterfall was there until I actually revisited or rewatched the video. So yeah, it was very interesting, very beautiful. Some of the most beautiful landscape I've seen in my whole life, I guess I would say. From there, from Twin Falls, I ended up going to Casper, Wyoming, and like driving through the Grand Tetons National Park, another very scenic route. And as I started getting closer and closer to the Grand Tetons, first off, I could see the backside of the Grand Tetons when I was driving up to them before I actually even got to the park, which was so cool. Like, I mean, you're driving around, there's all these mountains, and then there's these two specific mountains that you've seen pictures of, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the Grand Tetons that I'm seeing that are hidden behind one of the mountains, because they have that sharp look to them that just says, this is the Grand Tetons. Anyway, so made it to the park, saw some wildlife, too over, I forgot to say, in Glacier National Park. There was a goat, a big white mountain goat, and then there was a bear that I tried to get multiple times with my camera from a distance, and I'm pretty sure it didn't turn out because I didn't see it so on the camera. But again, the waterfalls were pretty spectacular. In Glacier National Park, didn't realize how close we were to Yellowstone. We were within 30 miles. I think it was like 29 miles before I made the turn off to Yellowstone to go to Casper, Wyoming. In that process, again, if you're watching the videos, there was one of the mountains. There's some fires going on out there. And they're pretty bad. It was definitely making it a little challenging to drive through the area, and then getting out of the car, you could just smell the burnt wood. But I stopped on the side and was able to show you guys a little bit of how the side of the mountain up top actually was burning, with the smoke coming across or whatever. So I thought that was kind of interesting. On top of that, like I said, we ended up going to Wyoming that night, and like I said, it got harder and harder to drive because of the smoke and fog. And then I spent too much time at Grand Teton National Park, taking pictures, driving through there, whatever, that it got, like, after it got dark, I still had another 130 miles to go, which I was kind of disappointed with, because I don't like driving at night in places that I don't know, just because you never know about the animals. I mean, you can't predict the wildlife, and you'll see that in the video, in some of the videos, that I literally stopped to catch the sunset behind me with the beautiful orange and reddish sky, and like right next to the car, across the street, there was like 5 or 6 deer there, and I scared them and made them run back into the field or whatever. Didn't even know that until I stopped. But yeah, again, very beautiful. So just figured I'd share that with you guys. And then from there, when I made it to the hotel, again, it was very late. I ended up going to a really cool diner there in Casper, Wyoming. And from there, I ended up going to Rapid City, South Dakota. Ended up taking a Needles Highway. Ended up going through the wildlife loop there in Custer National Park. Didn't really see the wildlife. I was hoping to see buffalo, and I did see buffalo. However, the buffalo were behind a fenced-in area because they just did their roundup, and I had no idea that they did that. It basically to slim the herd, again, because if they let the herd grow, it would do devastating things to the herd, and would overpopulate the 70,000 acres that Custer State Park. And an employee had told me this. That's the only reason why I know so much about this. But basically what they do is they auction off some of the buffalo, I imagine it's the buffalo calves, to whoever wants them or whatever. I thought it was, and that's another thing too, so I thought they were auctioning them off to other state parks, something, but no, it's to anybody. I imagine it's the highest bidder. Hey, you want a buffalo? Pay such and such. So basically, again, didn't see much wildlife other than like some prairie dogs, those crazy donkeys they have there, which are interesting. And for you guys that don't know, the donkeys are actually guardians. So basically they guard the herd. I did not know this neither, but they are very vicious when it comes to other predators coming within, trying to invade the herd, or do other harm to other animals that they're actually out there protecting. Again, did not know this, but you'll see, that's why you see a lot of donkeys on farms or whatever, because they're very protective and territorial of the surrounding, I guess you could say. And that's why farmers use them, This is something I learned over the years. So another thing too, when I was there in Custer State Park, they had I went around a curve, and all of a sudden there's like four mountain goats. So I thought that was kind of cool. Again, there's videos on this, and again, if you made it this far, you've already seen the majority of these. So from Custer State Park, or from Rapid City, South Dakota, I ended up coming here to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and staying a night. So again, that wrapped up the trip for a week. Again, keep it in mind that I worked too. I just took a week off to drive out here, and experience this. Here's the situation, but the plan was to go to the Smoky Mountains. I had made reservations, and I had planned all this stuff out when we had gotten back from our Colorado trip that we spent a week out driving around out here out west. And that's why I had mentioned in some of the videos, I've driven here before. Like Sioux Falls, this is the second time this year I've been to Sioux Falls. But again, I had made the plans as soon as I got back that come the end of September, I'm gonna make the drive out west, or not west, but I'm gonna make the drive to the Smoky Mountains, go and explore West Virginia, some other eggs that are hidden within the Smoky Mountains. Just to bring you guys along, I wanted to share that because I think it'd be kind of cool. Well, at the last minute, Hurricane Helena had ruined all that. I had a lot of money invested in hotel rooms all the way from Louisville, Bristol, Tennessee. There was, I think, two or three nights in Gatlinburg, 2 nights at Park Vista, and then one night, where am I at? Is it 10A? Yes, 10A. One night at another hotel there, and then from Gatlinburg, I was going to go to Chattanooga, spend one night, and then from Chattanooga, I was going to spend the last night in Nashville, and then from Nashville, just drive home. Well, like in the last minute, once I saw what was going on and all the flooding and the Smoky Mountains, especially 441, Cates Cove, a bunch of those other roads were basically impassable, and they were saying, hey, the Smoky Mountains basically is closed. Western Tennessee is, and Western North Carolina is impassable. Do not come down here because Western North Carolina is closed. So I made the ultimate decision basically to not travel that way. And keep it in mind that, I had talked it over with Gwen, and she had kind of said something, and I'm like, I'll just stay in a hotel or I'll venture out. But literally, like, it just wouldn't have been worth it. And I would have spent all this money just basically to sit in a hotel room down there, because I wouldn't have been able to go anywhere. Like I said, the Smoky Mountains, if I was still down there, the Smoky Mountains, in fact, Newfound Gap just opened up a couple days ago. So I wouldn't have been able to go to the park. I would have been stuck at the hotel room, venturing out in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, Sevierville and all that stuff. And I just decided, after talking with Gwen and kind of very disappointed, because again, I had made these plans and it took me a month to get everything in place, that it's just best not to go down there just due to what's going on, and not knowing, which roads would be passable. It just, a lot of disappointment. So what I did is I had basically a day from when I decided that I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, well, fine, then I guess I'm just going to go back out west. And then I wrote down everything and just made a plan within a day to go from basically from Green Bay, Wisconsin, all the way out to Twin Falls, Idaho, making a couple stops in between there, because I definitely wanted to document the waterfalls in Twin Falls. So I've never been to North Dakota. I've never been to Montana. I've never been to Idaho before. So 3 more states I got to add to our YouTube channel, which is pretty phenomenal if you ask me, considering that we've only been documenting our life on YouTube since November 26th of 2022, where we have been like really going out and exploring. I mean, prior to that, we were still going out and exploring and seeing cool things, but we were just taking it all in and we weren't documenting it. Where, like I said, these last 2 years, we've been to, I think 23 states maybe. But again, there's states that I've been to and that Gwen has been to that aren't even on our YouTube channel because at the time we weren't documenting. And which is funny because I can't tell you how many times I've been to Florida. We've been to St. Pete Beach. I've been to Jacksonville, Daytona, Panama City, Cocoa Beach, Fort Pierce. Treasure Island. We've been to I've been to Disneyland. I mean, we've been to so many places down there. But at the time I wasn't filming. And here's the funny thing. Being to Florida, I've probably been to Florida like 20 times. Same thing with California. Been to California a lot of times too. There's not one video on our channel that shows that we've been to either or of those places, which is kind of disappointing a little bit because I had no idea I would be doing this, but I'm not stopping now. Like I said, I've got too much time invested in this, and this is my livelihood now. And I want to share this with you guys to show you these cool places that they are in the United States. If you ever venture out of your comfort zone. Like I said, I stay in my comfort zone quite a bit, but now I'm starting to venture out and starting to see a lot of cooler things, but yeah, so again, just to recap, spent the week traveling. By the time I get home today, I will have almost put close to 5,000, if not 5,000 miles on my car that I have driven just this week. Again, talk about nuts. I will be so glad to get home and spend time with Gwen and sleep in my bed, just because it is going to be so relaxing. Another thing too that I wanted to share with you, so I'm simultaneously running 2 GoPros at the same time, a GoPro 11 and a GoPro 12. The GoPro 11 is basically just doing time lapse, and again, I've been doing that for every trip out. Again, example, from Green Bay to Fargo, North Dakota, I time-lapsed it too. And as you guys will see, you'll see those videos uploaded with the other videos. Again, just because I thought it'd be kind of cool. And these are going to be some long time-lapse, probably 20, 30, maybe even 40 minutes long for time-lapse. Actually, it probably wouldn't be 40. It'd probably be closer to the 20, 30-minute mark. But anyway, so running the 2 GoPros together at the same time, they suck up batteries. So what I've been doing at night is I would get to the hotel room, and the first thing that I would do is try to get all the discharged batteries in the charger. like, and when I say that, I never in my wildest mind thought that I would use 12 batteries on any trip. In fact, I always had 9 batteries available. Not that I ever thought I would need them, and I kept 3 in my backpack, you know, just to have them just on as backup. Well, this trip, like, I definitely needed, you know, all 12 of them, and multiple nights. Like I said, basically as soon as I get to the hotel room, the first thing I would do is get the chargers out and start charging batteries. And sometimes I wouldn't get a chance to charge all the batteries, just because basically what I would do is when I would get to the hotel room, and if it was really late, I basically would get in the hotel room. As soon as I'd get in, I would set a timer on my phone to make sure that I was going to bed at roughly 11 o'clock. So that way it'd give me enough sleep to be awake to drive the next day. Because again, I knew that I had stops in other places that I wanted to go. Some being as little as 350 miles, others being 500 and 600 miles. And even a little bit more. I think the trip from Pass, Montana, going through Missoula, Montana, all the way to Twin Falls, I think that might have been the longest trip, with maybe 600 in one day, but it might have been even more than that. Maybe the Fargo, North Dakota to Billings, Montana might have been somewhere too with there. I mean, again, it was just, there's a lot to take in. But basically, the last couple nights for sure, I don't think Fargo, North Dakota, from Green Bay to Fargo, North Dakota, I don't think I used all 12, but the rest of the time out, basically, that's all I was using 12 batteries a day, again, because they're charging and reusing, you know, constant, which is mind-boggling when you think of it, you know, like, holy cow, that's a lot of batteries. And the majority of them were charged up to 100%. But again, when you're using them, like I have been, it just gets a little crazy. And are we in Minnesota? We're in Minnesota now? Okay, wow. I'm going to be honest, I thought Minnesota was a little bit longer hike to Sioux Falls than what it is now, but apparently we're in Minnesota now. I did not realize that. So, holy cow. And of course we're in Minnesota because now we dropped the speed limit to 70. Should have known that. But yeah, so basically, like I said, the 12 batteries a night. And sometimes I would only get to charging like 9 or 10 of them, and trying to put the other 2 on in the morning when I'm waking up, with hopes that they would charge 2, and then use those batteries up right away because they would be kind of depleted already, and then I could go back in and do what I need to do if I do need to charge them or whatever. But yeah, so like that's the reason why. Yeah, it's just been with I've never been through that many batteries before in a single day. So, but anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I figured I'd just share that with you guys. I guess I've been talking for a long time. I didn't even realize that. But if you guys go back and watch the other videos, that's what this has been about. It's been a week out here just exploring the West to bring content to you guys, and meeting some really cool people in different states, trying new restaurants in different states. In fact, the restaurants that I did go to in the majority of the cities that I visit had some of the highest views, Google views, with thousands of Google views in each restaurant that I had picked. Most of them were the top restaurant for that area. which I thought was kind of cool. So, and I figured I'd bring you guys along. So, I'm honestly hoping to get sunrise this morning. That would make the day a lot cooler, considering we are driving east. We're currently on I-90 East, and again it's 6:29, so that would be pretty neat. So, wow. So apparently I've been talking for about 25 minutes, and I didn't realize that. But I seriously thought that Minnesota was like an hour or two away from Sioux Falls. I don't remember going into Minnesota that quick last time, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Excuse me. Yeah, I just think it's funny when you're in South Dakota on the highways, it's 80 miles an hour. You hit Minnesota, dropping that down quick. I mean, you lose 10 miles an hour. I think we're gonna be in for a pretty good sunset this morning, which I'm kind of stoked for to wrap this trip up. This is the stuff that I enjoy seeing. Well, amongst other things too, but sunsets, sunrises, waterfalls, tunnels, cool, unique architect. Driving this way to catch sunrise. Awesome. didn't look up to see when sunrise is, so I'm hoping soon, though. I mean, this is beautiful. taking it all in. Kind of hazy over there, or foggy. Spectacular sun. sucks about this is that trying to catch sunrise when it does happen is going to be so bright. But it's so hazy right now that I don't know, or foggy, that I'm not sure if, well, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get a good sunrise. It'd be cool if we did, but farmers out there doing something in the field. Can't really tell. get a sunrise. That sucks, but oh well. I thought we were gonna get a good sunrise, but I don't think that's gonna happen. That's kind of disappointing. Still a nice drive though. I mean, you can see that there's a clear orange over there, which is kind of cool. So, like, I imagine we will get a sunrise. Maybe kind of hazy and foggy. Well, I think it's more hazy than fog. But I think that something's going to happen. The sun's going to pop up, and this is going to be awesome. I don't want to jinx myself, though, so... Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is cool. Nice pinkish. Oh, this is gonna be great. Light up or whatever, which is kind of cool. Better and better. This is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Look at how beautiful that is. Oh wow. I was not expecting that. That is so cool. That is so cool. Look at that. That is awesome. Well, that was worth the wait. That was cool. whiteness for your face. Alright, so we're coming into the La Crosse area here shortly. So I figured I'd turn the camera on. So currently it is 10:57. It is 67 degrees. And we got the sign for the Great River Bluff State Park. Yeah. I started off this morning, it was 6 something, I think. It was 6:03 maybe when I left. And now it's 10:57, so not bad timing. It says I'll get home around, I got 3 hours and 25 minutes to go, or 221 miles. It says I should be home. It says 2:22, but I'm guessing it'll be more towards 3:30. Because I know I'll make some stops. But I am glad to be almost in Wisconsin again after a week of being on the road. Look at that view. Ears popped. Across the Mississippi River again, which would be kind of cool. Crossed quite a bit of rivers on this 1 week travel thing that I've done. Mississippi River, I feel like the St. Croix River maybe. Yellowstone River, North Platte River, Snake River twice, or no, more than that. Snake River a couple times. So some pretty cool. Oh, Missouri River a couple times. Now that I think of it, pretty cool rivers. Pretty cool rivers. Still got a little bit to go for colors. cool if they built like an incline of some sort to go from the bottom down here to the top of the bluff, and just so you could have like a lookout. That'd be pretty cool. Starting to get there with some of the colors. Definitely looks pretty cool. It again. The mighty Mississippi River. Here we go. She's a beauty. And the crazy thing is, most people may not believe this, but all the rivers that we have, the major rivers, Missouri River, Colorado River, Snake River, all those rivers, somewhere along the line, will end up draining into the mighty Mississippi, which is just unbelievable how the Mississippi works and how it, yeah, it's just it's hard to, it's just a very crazy concept, you know. Very cool though. So we are now in Wisconsin. I haven't been in Wisconsin in a week. So last time I left, it was last Saturday. So it makes me happy to be back in here, back in the state, knowing that I'm close to home. Still got 3 hours to go, 3 hours, 17 minutes, 210 miles, but at least I'm in Wisconsin. just taking it all in. And you can definitely see some reds and some brighter colors, you know, on the bluffs. It's pretty cool. Maybe another 3 more weeks or 2 more weeks. That would be cool. Got some reds over here off to the right. I keep coming up with the left. Everything is the left. Everything is the left. But it's clear that's the right there where I was referring to. And I don't know why I keep basically saying everything to the left. Oh, look at that red one. That is really red. Holy cow. That is kind of cool. Still need a little bit more time to get the peak colors, but still looks pretty cool though. La Crosse River. 199 more miles to go. Yay! I'm starting to see some really cool colors over here. Not peak, but check out the colors. Got a lot of reds, yellows. Very cool. In fact, this is the most colorful I've seen the whole trip. You guys see a lot of yellows. The bright yellow is almost a gold color. But here you got reds mixed in, which is kind of cool. Look at that. Very cool. Oh, it's so neat. Still got a little bit of ways to go, but there's some of the trees that are really sticking out, which is really cool. I like the red ones myself. Those are pretty cool. Look at all those nice and cool colors. gusty winds today. Now I can imagine when it's peak, that whole area up there is going to be like yellowish, red, and bright green, which will be pretty awesome. Got a long ways to go. That tree's cool, the yellow one. That's cool. Got a little bit of color. Maybe 2 more weeks. Who knows? Some colors over here. Colors here to the right. So we have a lot more colors over here. Look at this, especially off to the left as this orange Corvette passes me. You do you. Or actually it's red. It looks orange. Look at those colors. That is so awesome. Wow. So I got about 2 hours and 27 minutes to go, or 151 miles. Can't wait till that dwindles down. Here comes some cool colors. Look at this off to the right and left. Kennedy County Park. Look at that. So cool. And see you later, Mercedes. Apparently they don't go by the speed limit. I mean, it's 55 through here. I wish it was more than that, but yeah, I will stick to this. Just enjoy the views. Enjoy Kennedy County Park. That way, to the right. Look at those leaves. That is awesome. Wow. They are really beautiful. Reds. Look at that. Gosh, those are beautiful. Holy cow. So cool. We got some really cool colors. Look at it. Look at on both sides of the road. This is really cool. I kind of figured this was going to happen when I came back to Wisconsin. Like, you know, for the majority of the part, all I've seen was a lot of yellow, which is their way of changing leaves on all the roads I've been to. But seeing this here, I knew that there was going to be so many more colors. So this is pretty cool. Look at that. Nice colors. All that tree to the right there looks pretty cool. Calmer wind, or no wind. That would be cool. No wind. Trees off to the left right there look pretty cool. The colors. Kinds of colors. This is cool. Look at that. Awesome. That is cool. been excited about seeing. Like, shockingly, like, since I've been coming back, since today, seeing a sign for Oshkosh. Like, that's very exciting for me. Way up there on that ledge up there, to the right. It goes flat. They got like a viewing platform of some sort. It's kind of cool. about any kids being there, but what do I know? miles to go and 2 hours and 3 minutes. crazy stuff going on over here off to the left. That is very interesting. Holy cow. There's an airplane over there that's all smashed up. They got a stop sign too. Oshkosh, 65 miles. There. A little bit of reddish. A little bit of reddish, yeah. Look at that. Holy cow. That's pretty awesome. Oh, some really cool colors. All the states I've been to, this is the first state, Wisconsin is, that you're seeing a lot of reds. Like for the majority of the part, out there, it was all yellow. And I think that's due to the tree, but where the tree being out in the middle of nowhere and not a whole lot of water may have effect to it too, but I'm not sure on that one. That's cool. I did not know that was there. Huh. Just a big rock just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. That is interesting. Very interesting. Another 119 miles to go, or an hour and 52 minutes. 74 degrees out too right now. Wisconsin 21, Waushara County. right, so we're taking a 441 loop around Appleton now. And we're crossing over 41 right now. So we got about 32 minutes or 38 miles to go. Currently 73 degrees and it's 2:02. So I'm going to be glad to be home. That wind is really whipping and it has been a struggle. I mean, there's been points where like the wind just pushes you off into the shoulder or it pushes you off into the left lane. Like, holy cow. Yeah, it's pretty rough. But I only have 31 more minutes, so not too big of a deal considering I think I started off 8 hours. What is it, 8 hours? Yeah, 8 hours of driving, I believe. Or close there. I think it was like 500 and some miles. But not bad. Seeing many Leafs over here, and there's a couple that are really cool changing, but like not like we saw on those on I think it was County P or County PP or whatever, or Highway PP. I don't even know. I just know that we saw a couple. Oh, we got a couple trees that are pretty decent. One over there to the left, it's all nice and red. College Avenue. That's the main drag where all the shops are on downtown. For Appleton. So I misspoke because I thought that said College Avenue back there, but it said College Avenue, but it was talking about this CE. Back there, that was Calumet Avenue. So this exit right here, exit 8, if you take that into Appleton, that's where all the shops and stuff are downtown and everything. So funny thing is, every time I see 441, I keep thinking of 441 between Gatlinburg and Newfound Gap over to Cherokee, North Carolina, because that's 441, which is so funny because until I actually went there, I didn't know that, but it's just interesting. Every time I think of it now, I'm like, oh yeah, that's 441. Well, this is a different 441. Not as pretty, no mountains. Exit 28 miles, 24 minutes. washed my car in Twin Falls, Idaho. Was the last time I washed it, and it looks horrible. Like, the whole hood up front is all dusty. Like, but the rest of the car just isn't any better. Like, I mean, it looks like it is like a mess. Like, holy, I would never usually go this far without washing it, but I just didn't. I didn't know where to go, like, to get it washed, and the majority of the time, as you see, I didn't have time. Or you'll see in the videos that I didn't really have time to wash it. But it's definitely, I will be washing it before I go home today, so it'll definitely get washed. Since I have a club car wash membership now. Minutes before we hit the Green Bay. It's actually less than that. Car's asking me if I want to take a break. No, I want to push through. Like, I am done. Like, I will not be, after today, I'm probably not going to drive the rest of the weekend. Gwen can drive. I am going to be beat. It'll be nice just to be a passenger, since I've literally driven every day for long hours, every day for the last week, to get some really cool content. So that's cool. So lost a couch. Good thing it's not in traffic, so that's cool. super windy. Super windy, yeah. Yeah, like none of the leaves have started here, so which is weird because I would have thought that. Well, the cool thing is they've started over closer to the cross area and on some of those roads over there, so that's pretty neat to see. Just nothing here yet. City of the Pier, which is a suburb of Green Bay. I really wonder what they're building over here. gonna kind of, well, so it hasn't rained anywhere where I've been, but here it definitely looks like it could rain, but I guess I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. Interesting. But maybe not. Maybe it's just cloudy. Because it is kind of fall now, so, like, I mean, this is the kind of weather you usually get, so I don't know. In the village of Ashwaubenon. Basically, we're in Green Bay right now, so. All right, so that was the drive from Sioux Falls, South Dakota to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and there was a couple spots we got to see some really cool leaf changing. However, here in Green Bay, it's probably not yet there. Probably got another couple weeks. So if you guys like this kind of content, please feel free to subscribe, like, share, follow, and with that, I'll catch you on the next adventures here, there, and everywhere. Talk to you later.